I'm fine. I'm not feeling that great today.
Oh,
no. No, I just don't
Freshen
like
up the format
so.
of the agenda?
Well,
Freshen up the agenda?
I
The
wasn't
new
sick.
format?
Steven thing.
This is Jody's thing.
In pain.
Is
So I
standardizing the
So it started
agendas on all the
Monday,
commissions.
and then Tuesday, and then I had to go teach, so that didn't help. So I kind of took a step back, and then I went to work today. So I'm like, I'm just a little angry. We had like fairs,
We're
like,
still
one after the
surviving.
other.
Still,
We're still here.
No, it's just like it was hard on my body for the past 2 weeks, like previous 2 weeks. So my
can't
body's
do
like,
those rides.
I
I've
need
been
to pick on
doing
you. So now I'm just.
We're running around.
Winter ride, what's the name?
2 playgrounds, 2 pickleball courts.
Oh, yeah.
I did a lot of concrete at a truck my mark today.
So I
Now you
can
can see your progress, right?
What's that?
But you can really see your progress,
Oh
right?
yeah, we can see the light at the top, but it's still a few weeks away.
Like, she got me payroll.
Still coming.
Geneva's looking
So
so
Steven-
good.
Still coming.
I haven't done it, I got to go through mine ago, right? That's like a month ago.
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and get started.
Okay,
Next Tuesday,
so what do I
12
do?
houses
Oh,
on.
just welcome everybody, and then we'll just kind of
We've
start
done
going
over an
through
acre and a
the,
half facade this year.
through each one.
Okay, here we go. See your bucket.
Okay.
That's 112 pallets.
Welcome everybody. We're gonna go ahead and start our meeting. I don't know if we need to do introductions.
Yeah, nobody knew.
Yep.
I think we have, yeah.
We're good.
For worse or for better, we all know each other.
Right.
Is it on?
Would it be a,
Yeah, Jill, it's turned on, right?
would it be a good idea to just do our introductions so that if anybody listening to it can recognize voices?
Oh,
and
who's
know
here?
talking?
Yeah.
For all of
So
our
just-
fans out
ju-
For all, yeah.
So that's a good idea. Yeah, just who's here, so that's in the minutes.
Okay, so if everybody can introduce themselves, I'm Jay Teresa. I'm the chair.
Liz Wolf.
Deputy Ray Council Liaison.
Stephen Downs, staff.
Kirsten Hatterley, commission member.
Jill Wunder, clerical staff.
I'm Reed Price with Public Works and help out with the budget with the Summerfest committee.
Hunter Matthews staff and sponsors.
Tim Delsing, Parks Department.
Pete Wolfley staff?
Okay, sweet. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So we will have to wait on that one just till we have the quorum. So
Okay.
either next meeting or later if they show up.
Sweet.
And James, we did it this time. So just so you all know, we're going to be doing minutes a little different this year. So we're allowed to in state law, instead of writing up all the minutes, right now we ship this out and somebody types them up. If we record and make the audio available, we don't have to type up anything. So we're going to record this, and then the audio will just be made available on YouTube if anybody wants to go back and listen to the meetings. And it'll actually be time-stamped by these different items. So if you ever want to actually go hear what was actually said, but all we do is record it, upload it to YouTube, and then minutes are done. So
So in
That's
order to
how-
approve the minutes, you have to actually listen to the YouTube,
well,
or claim to have listened to the
Even
YouTube.
As much-
have
yeah.
to approve them. Well, actually, there's a
We-
summary that's made and you can just approve the summary.
So-
Otherwise, it's the minute you listen to it. That's
Okay.
what
well,
happens.
yeah. So the minutes will just say the date and time, who was here. Here's the agenda items. Here's the link if anybody wants to watch it.
Uh-huh.
And so there will be still a one sheet on minutes.
Oh, okay.
That's what we'll approve.
Okay.
But it's pretty easy to approve because it's verbatim what was said on the recording. So there's really no. And I guess I don't want to give you the history of all minutes, but we've run into issues of it being summarized and somebody saying that's not really what I said. I didn't say it exactly that way. In this case, it's just hey, the recording is what the recording is. There's no trying to guess what somebody meant or said.
Well, there will probably be some of that.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
you don't have facial
You
expressions.
Yeah, you have doctored the recording.
Everyone be nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll turn time over to Reed.
All right, I've printed out the final results of last year's budget.
Thank you.
Welcome. And things look really good.
Oh, yay, we're in the black.
Did I overspend?
Well, some people do.
I'm sure I did.
Hey, but everyone paid finally.
So good. That was worth every penny of fireworks.
Okay. So to look at this, we've got, of course, the committee member's name, the event that they were under. Then where it says budget, that's the amount of money that the committee approved before Summerfest, that this is what we expect you to spend on your event. Likewise, under revenue, there's a budget column that shows this is what we expect you to bring in. So you can see that our expenses totaled $92,250 is what we expected to spend. And we wanted to bring in $99,250 to balance the budget. The actual expenses are listed in the second column, and then the difference between them is listed in the third column. So if there's a red number there, that means that that particular event went slightly over, or went over budget that amount. Same with the revenue. There's the actual, that's what was brought in, and then the difference is in the third column. If there's a if there's a red number there, that means they didn't bring in quite as much money as we expected them to. Some of them you can see, like Ashley in Boutique, she was supposed to have 0 expenses because she's a boutique. Well, it turns out that we're charged a fee for our credit card transactions. That's not something that we budgeted for. So it shows that she spent $262.64 in credit card fees there. But next year we know to budget for that. We'll put, okay, Ashley, you're going to be bringing in $5,000 next year, or $4,131. We'll make sure that we budget for her credit card fees.
And was that the same for me?
Yes, that would have been the same for you too with food vendors. We didn't realize that. Actually, what we've been doing is absorbing them into administration. We wanted to pull that out just to be clear that there is a fee associated with collecting these things as well. So it's not a big deal. If you look at the total numbers, we thought we would spend $99,250. We actually spent $101,399. So we're a little over what we were expecting, about $2,149 over. We spent that much more than what we were hoping to. However, we were also going to bring in $99,250, but we brought in $128,000, which is $29,605 more than we were expecting to bring in. When you factor in, we brought in $29,000, we overspent $2,000. Our grand total surplus is $27,456 from last year. So you can, if you look through the column, the revenue column, you can see one of the main reasons was that we were expecting to get $52,750 from sponsorships. We actually got $71,125, which was $18,000
That's awesome.
more. So that's kind
Let's
of
give Ken and Stephen.
Another one was the carnival.
Carnival.
Usually the carnival just comes, does their thing, but we negotiated with the carnival to get a cut of what they made. And so we ended up getting $9,250.10 from that.
Did we get any pushback from them, or were they okay with
Who's this?
Carnival?
No. No, actually, honestly, this is probably the better year we've had with the carnival, at least from our end.
Yeah.
Would you feel the same?
Rides worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, they were honestly
And
just
we don't
fine.
pay them to come?
We don't pay them anything. They actually pay us to be there.
Now they pay us, but they used to just come do their thing and leave, and we didn't know how much money they made or anything. And this year we said, you know what? How about giving us a little bit?
But we
Like,
pre-sold.
I'll be
How many
asked.
did we pre-sell? If I remember
I was
correctly?
trying to pull up the revenue thing. For some reason, my phone's struggling. But
Revenue for what?
The pre-sale of the carnival.
Oh.
I want to say I made
could-
like 3,000
I
of it.
I don't want to belabor things here, but I can look at the tab down here.
Here, I'm
Carnival.
pulling that up right here.
I thought that went well myself.
I could just-
There was never really a long line for
Thursday was nice.
that.
It was good. Pete, any idea of the magazine?
We pre-sold
Did it just
$14,000
cost
worth
for
of
print,
tickets.
mail? Why were we 37?
I don't
100.
remember what happened there. 'Cause I remember it was done on
Yeah,
a quote.
pre-sale was 14,070.
Can you look into the magazine too? Read
Yeah.
what the deal was?
Yeah, why were we 3,700 on the magazine? Was that just,
Kirsten, I'm wondering if part of yours got coded.
is that extra mailing, printing?
Obviously your expenses were more than $600.
Yeah.
So maybe
Production.
I wonder the storyteller
Whoever
got coded
designed
into entertainment.
Yeah, that was my fee that I took.
Well, I know my
Let's see.
well, I hope your trip to
Now it
backdrop
was great.
too.
So printing and
Went
mailing,
somewhere
printing
else, they
was
did
$12,960.
Okay.
But we ended
Mailing
up
was
spending more on ice cream than what we
66.90.
budgeted.
Okay.
And
So we just
then
under
Ken
budget
or you
started doing
approved
that.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. We're totally good.
So will we just up that budget for next year, knowing that it's going to probably cost out about the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
So We have.
I just didn't know if it was revenue sales or.
If I was to point fingers, I'd point mine
It
at
was the
me.
first time this year for the magazine.
That's always the default.
Yeah, that's always Pete's fault, so.
Pete was skimming the top.
Let's open up an
Go
investigation.
back.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions
Your
about
boss, the city's fine.
the budget?
Nice stride, Seth.
I guess I have a question for Kenna. This is Debbie. Were these one time because of our centennial sponsors, or do you think these are people that we could?
Most of them are ones we can re-up. I mean, we did get $1,000 from the realtors, we may not get, because of the ball.
Right.
But we're not gonna have the expense
Of the ball.
of the ball, so it'll probably even itself out.
Same with kind of like Jim Evans,
Yeah,
put up
he
extra
may-
money.
He may not put up as much, but I think, and we know that we'll probably get a few donors back, that said they'd come back this year.
Okay, so will we figure maybe more of a hope to get about the 52,000 mark, or will you budget somewhere between the 50 and the 71?
You know, if I could, I think it's all about Vivint, really. I mean, Vivint this year was a little slower in committing than they've been in the years past. They did ultimately commit in the end, but it went to Todd Peterson's desk for him personally to approve. We just wonder what that's going
So
to
you
look
don't
like.
count on that every year.
Yeah, we just kind
Okay.
of wonder.
So was that 20,000? How much did they give us?
25.
Okay.
Yeah.
We would have been a little more nervous, but still been on the plus side.
Yeah, it's
We
true.
would have been pretty.
We were a little nervous when they weren't paying, but they finally came
Okay.
through, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the other changes and things that all of you have worked on allows us to be more comfortable. If for some reason something like that would ever go away, we really wouldn't have to cut back a lot.
Okay.
So
But we feel like there's probably some, even if we had to break the fireworks sponsorship down a little bit, where we go to 2 or 3 people, we think there may be some donors we haven't reached out to that would be willing to do that.
Okay.
Well, that was for the biggest show ever. I mean, are you scaling it down
And that's
next
true, too.
year,
We
or
did
is it
up
staying the biggest show ever for now on?
yeah,
Probably needs to scale back a little bit.
I mean,
Never
it was a good show, but
yeah, it was.
are we gonna
I mean,
continue
I think we
that next
spent
year?
what 20 instead of like 14.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I would think it'll be, 15 next year?
probably about
ish?
I mean, even before we always had a lot of compliments on the fireworks
Yeah, yeah.
show. So
Unless we do 101 Dalmatians theme, I don't think we'll do 101
Yeah.
celebration.
we did have a conversation with Freedom Festival yesterday. They actually used the same firework person, of potentially bidding ours together and seeing if we can get a better
Oh.
price. If they win, they get both. You know, both.
What do they
shows.
pay?
70,000.
I was gonna say there's.
Only? I'm surprised.
Yeah,
That'd
so it's
be
just
more than that.
70,000. So, anyways,
That's good.
It's probably what, $2 per ticket? So that goes to the show.
yeah.
It's doable.
It's definitely worth it. Well, kudos. I just want to make sure that I never want the fireworks to be dependent on Vivint. I mean, I just think that makes me nervous. So they have to always be part of, even if it's just this money in the bank that we have if we pull
Yeah.
it.
Well, I think that's kind of what Reed's saying is it just would have been tighter, but we still would have been able to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Any questions? If anybody wants details of their events, just contact me and I can send you itemized lists of the expenses.
Is there anything that you were uncomfortable with, or you feel like this was pretty close to?
No, I was, as I reviewed it, everything seemed
Okay.
reasonable, and anything that went over budget, there was a logical reason for it.
The entertainment with Charlene, was that just we had to pay the acts more?
Yeah, there was, I can't remember what hers was. I think it was sound.
There's additional sound day. That one day they weren't planning, but
Okay, so that's
that's part of it.
sound. Okay.
I also
Yeah,
wonder,
hers
Reed,
was-
there's a chance that maybe, I wonder if some of the entertainment from the kickoff party was coded up there as well.
Everything I have in entertainment is only sound.
Okay.
That's all sound. We didn't pay anyone.
We haven't paid anything on car yet because he
No,
will
car
not
was-
get back with me.
Car was paid. Well, car show was, unless he has outstanding expenses. But
Yeah,
had
we
Caps-
haven't
we had
paid
Caps
that
of
gentleman
America,
yet.
Caps of America, and then Oldies Rock and Roll Radio Production, who ran the thing.
And how much was that? And that's
That
the
was
amount.
800.
But I never cut a check, so who cut the check to him?
I don't know. That's definitely
Because
the
he
amount we
won't
owed
send
him.
me an invoice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or was it the W-9?
Or the W-9, and I've called, I've
Yeah.
mailed.
Yeah.
Somebody,
I've
somebody,
emailed.
Somehow he got paid.
on July 31st.
Don't know how.
You'd probably be hearing from him if he hadn't, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Be hearing from me if it was me.
John paid it. Just kidding.
Okay, that's it, Jay Teresa.
Thank you, Reed.
Thanks.
Okay. Do we have to skip that one? Voting on the theme?
We could probably, let's discuss it though and see kind of where everybody's at. And then we can vote later.
Okay. So the thing that was put forward was "This is where we belong" for the 2020. I'm great with that idea. I like it because it wasn't. I think the motivation was Orem is a family city, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and Kirsten, you brought this out of that article that you read in like BYU Magazine.
Yeah, and then I went and read the book.
Oh, very nice.
So it's written by a woman who travels around or moved around a lot and just kind of realized that she had to make home, you know. She didn't grow up that way. She stayed in one house her whole life anyways. But the theme was, this is where you belong. And so the way it fit for me with Orem was with all the new build and all the, you know, new people coming in that, you know, that if we can create that feeling of, hey, this is where you belong.
Yeah, and I tied it to the family city USA. I think that's what it is, if I'm correct. So that's what I tied it to in my mind. So I like that.
And I think that still worked with the governor, right, as our crown marshal?
Oh, yeah.
Because
People, I mean, that's
he belongs to Orem.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
from Orem. And he's not running again, so
Yeah.
that might be, I think it still works. If you guys think it still works.
I
Like
thought of it
welcome
the same
home.
way that you did, Kristen, that like with all this new people and things moving in and different types of families, you know, that there's a lot more younger people and
Yeah,
more
and a lot more
transitional
diversity
to
coming
diversity.
in. And
And you know, I'm looking back through the email. So Kirsten sent that on the 19th of July. Nate, Liz, Catherine Whitaker, Sally, Katrina, all said they love it. Let's use it. So I think we do.
So that's a vote.
I think we could
Vote
we
via
could move
email?
forward with it based on that.
Okay.
I like it too, Kirsten. Good find in that article.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So Pete and I had a discussion. Pete, Jill, and I had a discussion about increasing the fee for the vendors. I don't remember what we had thrown out there, but we had just discussed increasing that some.
is the
But-
food vendors or the boutique?
The food vendors, sorry, the food vendors. And then we also discussed with Tim about changing around how the electricity is done to make it easier on Tim. So, Pete, do you remember the price we discussed?
Yeah, so what I put down in the application, as we've kind of been redoing it, is $750, up from $500.
Okay, and so I don't know if we want to take that back down, but I do think it should increase.
think
I just
it's
don't
a
know by
lot.
how much.
That's a big jump.
Oh, if I may, the place I'm coming from, I'm sorry, I'm counting real quick here, is we had 54 people apply, which tells me that the price is too low.
Okay.
We had 54 people apply for 23 spots. And so everyone seems to think that it's worth it. And I think raising the price, it's a better value than we realize.
How many of those were actual food trucks that we didn't really want? Or
Oh, I don't
didn't
know,
want?
but
We
still,
didn't have as many food trucks. We didn't have as many of those. And then also to take into consideration to that, Tim, if you want to share what you were talking about with electricity.
With the power situation, we were talking about it, trying to give everybody full amount of power, but we don't have the ability to give everybody max power. So we're probably gonna end up keeping it probably the similar as way it is now, at least for this year, until we kind of get more things more refined. But you're paying for the power to be so you get free power up to like household power for the 110. Anything excessive or advanced over that, 30 amps, 50 amps, you'll be paying the $75 extra for. Kind of what it's been. We'll keep it that way. That way I know who wants power and who doesn't want power. A little bit easier. They all want power, and then they all have the power.
Yeah.
So they all abuse it, but
I think the other thought, we've had it at 500 for a little while.
several years.
Several years. Since then, we've added an extra day. So we added that Thursday, basically lunch
Oh, right, okay.
as well selling, and we were paying for power for that time. So our costs have gone up. Their opportunity to sell is extended from what it used to be. So I think they're no, please.
And I was just gonna say, we have a better sense of what they're making too now. You know, when, you know, all those people that were on the wait list,
Mhm.
and that one guy was willing to give us $5,000 to
Right.
come in.
Right,
You know,
that's
what we were
true.
calling the blood money. But, you know, I just think the price is way too low. It's, you know, kind of the basic economics of supply and demand,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Okay.
We just need to raise the price a little bit to hopefully weed people out and then
See
also
what
cover our
happens.
costs.
Yeah.
So what is everybody's opinion? Because I do want to raise it, I'm just not sure of the pricing.
This is Liz. My thought is that increasing by 1.5 seems rather extreme. Like going from 500 to 750 is a 1.5 increase, and that seems a lot. So maybe increasing, but maybe not by as much, maybe to 600 or 650. So it's still increasing to compensate for the extra day and the extra power, and just because we increase in, there's a word and I don't know the word. What's the word? What?
Just I mean, the cost of providing services.
Yeah.
For inflation.
Inflation, that's
Yep.
the word. But maybe not 1.5 times as much.
Anybody else?
One of the things that one of the things that we are considering is offering some sponsorship around the food court, so that someone can pay a large sponsor fee and be given a spot in the food court. So that's just something to keep in mind as well.
Do they pay more for 2 spots if they're a sponsor? Is it like, are they guaranteed like 10 by 10, or is it a?
We haven't, probably one spot.
Okay.
What do you think, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thought would be they'd be guaranteed a spot, and then they'd be kind of advertised in our magazines as kind of a sponsor of the food court.
Right.
And they could pay that higher fee.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I kind of had the same idea about the 600 to 650, kind of do an incremental jump, see what the demand is this year.
okay.
If you feel like it's still okay, and maybe even in a year or two you could go 750, but.
Tim, what percentage would you say took the additional power?
Almost half now. We're growing in power big time. That's what's hurting us.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to be a trailer or bigger or have max power, and that's what we're trying to accommodate, and we're struggling to do that for sure.
I'm just brainstorming this too. I wonder if that highest amount, that 750, is the ones that are taking the big power. And then
So
you
you'd have to charge them like 100 or 150 for max power?
yeah,
If
so
we're gonna go from 600 or.
well, if you went to 6, and I'm not saying this. If you went to 650, and then another 100 to take that additional power, that's
That
the
makes sense.
750. Then the Kona Ices of the world are maybe paying 750, but
Right.
I ended up having 12 vendors want extra power last year, so
Yeah.
half.
That makes sense.
And that the other half wants 3 or 4 or 5 110 outlets.
Yeah.
So that's where's the cutoff on that?
Yeah.
You charge per 110 outlet. Now it's $35 per 110 outlet.
That's an option.
Then they're paying.
A couple of them do pay extra for 110 outlets. Like, I know we had a couple that paid for, like Bamboo Hut wants 7 or 8 110 outlets. They do pay for theirs, and a couple
Yeah.
other ones do that, but still.
But it's all one fee right now, right?
It's all one fee.
Yeah, so let's, based on how many connections they need, we could.
yeah.
So could we do like they get 2, and then after that, they would have to pay the $35?
Yeah, something like that.
So what if we just took some time, put together a proposal with somebody's
Sure.
thoughts, and then we don't meet again until January. We probably usually will open up before then.
Yeah,
So maybe
we're
we
open in
January
January.
1st.
Maybe through email we send out that proposal and see.
Are there
kind of
some
what
that
the
don't
process
use
is.
power at all?
Yes.
So maybe we just have.
Not, let's see, yeah, there are a couple that don't usually use power, but everybody wants at least 110 for lights or for a register,
Right.
but just be non-power essential.
I mean,
That's
another
fine.
idea would be to
So
have
a
a
base
tiered
fee.
rate,
Is
right?
that what
So
they're
your
saying?
sponsors are at the top,
Yeah.
and you've got your premium spots, whatever we think are the best
Right,
spots.
right.
And those are more expensive. And then as you move away towards, less desirable spots, those are cheaper.
Yeah.
Everybody wants the south side.
That way those that are willing to pay for the better spots pay.
Oh, okay.
South side's priority, it seems like everybody wants the south side, but I can't put a lot of the bigger guys in the south side because I fill it up with 10 by 10s,
Yeah.
the way the power's set up and stuff. So the west side gets a lot of the 10 by 10, or the bigger vendors, the doubles and whatnot, and then I kind of just fill them in from there. But everybody likes the south side.
I mean, I think as we've seen this over the years too, this is the demand for our parks time from the food vendors is really high. I mean, they're asking for a lot of things, a lot of extra things, a lot of last minute things. And so we're spending a lot of time disproportionate to the other things going on, trying to help these food vendors.
Yeah, they are a huge chunk
Who
of
are
time.
making bank.
Yeah,
Right.
making a lot of money. And again, good kudos to them, and I want them to be there. It's just, you know,
What's fair?
What's fair? Yeah, what's fair. So what if we do that? If we put a proposal together with maybe all of that and email it out and kind of seek that, and hopefully by December we know it, and then in January we're ready to go.
Right. So Pete, we can work on that.
Okay.
And I did make changes to the application per the health inspector. So there have been some changes to the application, some wording that has been put on there to let them know if they don't follow health code violations, they will be shut down until they fix it. Also, about their, what do you call their permit? Yep, about their permit information on there. And then also Eddie said that whatever they put to me in the application that they're selling, they actually have to sell it. They cannot be
They
changes.
can't vary their
that-
menu. The menu's gotta be
Right.
set in stone when they come on site.
So that has been put on the application as well to let them know that there will be, once I approve them as the vendor, they can't vary
Yeah.
their.
Which I think helps us too, because these food vendors show up under one, and then hey, guess what? We're also selling snow cones.
Or we have
Right.
five snow cones or candy people or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So I
that
think that'll
helps.
help with the other food vendors complaining,
I
but
totally
that
agree.
information is on there. And then I also asked Pete to put on there about their spots. So if they say they need a 10 by 10 and they come with something bigger, they are told that there will not be an adjustment made for them. They either fit in the spot or not, and there will be no refund. So we're trying to get that down so Tim doesn't have to
I'll need a
constantly
bodyguard.
deal with changing that stuff. So we did put that word
Grab a cop.
in the
Yeah,
application.
really. Yeah, that was the problem last year with some of the miscommunication on the application is they paid for $1,000 for 2 spots, but
Yeah.
came in, I only had them down as a single spot, so that's where some of the adjustment came in that threw us off a little bit. We had 2 vendors to at least do that, if not.
And I'll
Better
make sure
call.
that I do a better job of paying attention to what they're asking for and sending that over to you.
He needs to attend a government meeting with
Ah.
his work.
Come on.
Yeah, he's in the
Come
right
sit
spot.
by me.
Come on up.
Front table.
Comfy chairs.
Yeah, you can sit at one of the.
You can sit right here next to the committee chair. There you go.
Oh,
This
for-
is Jay Teresa.
Government class, so.
Oh, sweet.
Sorry for interrupting.
No,
And
sorry for
your name?
interrupting.
And what's your name?
Daniel
Daniel what?
Warnick.
Okay, so those are some of the changes on the application that we're working through, so we definitely can work with Pete to come up with a proposal for that. But yeah, I definitely want to have it ready to shoot on January 1st or January 2nd.
That's perfect.
And then Pete and I have already discussed the timeline for everything, so.
Hey, Teresa, do you have an idea of what good sponsorship would be? Like what level? Like where do you think what's fair for getting guaranteed spot, being a sponsor of the food court, being in the magazine?
I don't, I'll defer to Kenna.
We were discussing 15 to 22, weren't we?
Yeah, because you get the magazine out. So $12.50 is what Wallabies paid to be a sponsor.
Right.
And Wallabies just did the math to say ad plus food, same amount of money, and I'm guaranteed a spot.
Right.
So I think above that would be
Probably 2.
fair. And they get the ad too.
Because that one hamburger joint would have paid 10.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Do they care about ads though?
Well, they'd be able to push out the hey, come see us and you get a free
Yeah.
such and such if you come. But we can, we'll see. I mean,
Yeah, I was curious.
Coupon.
Yeah.
If that's enticing, as
No,
enticing as you
I-
might think it is.
yeah. So okay.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Okay, so we'll move on to the committee member reports. So Orm's Got Talent is vacant.
We do potentially have some interest from Shelley C. Strand, who
Oh,
Mark
that would
C.
be great.
Strand. He's retired from the city council, and his wife's at least expressed some interest in serving. in
She'd
that.
be great.
Okay, I recognize his name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she would be really good.
She's done a lot with the Miss Orem pageant, so
Oh, sweet.
she's
Okay.
very good. She'd be great.
I do have, just so you know, we reached out and contacted everybody who was involved in the different, just ask them how it went, what they would do different. So just so you know, on the Orm's Got Talent, there's a couple things. One was the judges. It was
Too young, stacked too young.
yeah,
Oh, my.
the cutest teenage boy, amazingly,
Oh, he was good though.
won. Well, but in his own words, I shouldn't have won that. It's just that the judges are all, girls my
boppers.
age. That's his own words.
I love it. I love it.
So,
Yeah, I had to temper some of their stuff.
so anyways, I think there's some little things about potentially using our arts council as judges.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And then the Miss Orums throughout the show, we got delayed in our start because the Miss Orums all did their routine.
Did they have to do that? I don't mean that rudely, but
That was the mayor's call.
oh, honestly, I was.
Yeah.
Can't we just do like one number from the Miss
with all of
Worms
them
and then
in.
one number from the teens?
I think there's opportunity for that.
I should.
It got running
really-
pretty late.
Yeah, and I kept thinking, I thought they were the pre-show, and then the show should have started, but maybe I was wrong.
So we have them start earlier then. Is there anything on the stage before then? Oh, there's
Well, that was part of the
the
problem too, is
the animal.
what was there before, it was Peter Breinholt, right?
Oh, hey,
And he went late, and then we were late, so.
All depends on schedule.
We just need more backcourt space.
And then somebody made the recommendation of Adam Robertson with the Sarah potentially to MC it. He's got kind of that voice for it. and
He would be
pretty
good. Yeah.
So, anyways, that's the Orm.
I don't know. I would just.
feedback.
I'm happy to run that, but I think one for the Miss Orm, one for the.
I like that idea.
Because I mean, they were very talented, but it felt like it just got longer and longer and longer. And
Another thing you could do is maybe intersperse them throughout the acts.
Yeah.
Have little
Yeah.
2-minute segments.
oh, like
of
transitioning
something.
between them.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if they're not the judges this year, that would work.
Yep.
Okay. So Ashley's not here for boutiques.
And I apologize. I'm not trying to.
Nope. You're
I
good.
just have the notes from her.
You're
So
good.
with boutiques, Ashley's thought, maybe tip she's talked to you is she feels like we could do some additional vendor space.
Not for power. We don't
Not for power. We're not. Okay. And then her only other thing was, and it was the same with food. We've already talked about this with Pete. Is making sure they're not allowed to, when they're signing their agreement, pay for multiple, which will get figured out. But other than that, I think she was pretty happy with how that went.
And then I gave my update for food vendors. We had some hiccups, but I think they were figured out. It was helpful to have. I was nervous to have Eddie there, but he was very helpful to have there, and he taught me a lot. So
Did
I
we
was
get
very
any
appreciative.
pushback from Waffle Love at all? Didn't they get shut down for a while?
They did.
Yeah, well, they
They
had a
did?
perfectly valid
just-
reason for being shut down.
They didn't have they weren't registered.
Right.
Still not.
Yep.
They still not?
Not as of last month.
So they had a perfectly valid reason for it,
Yeah.
and they knew it, so they shouldn't
Yeah.
have given.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure did they push back at all?
Yeah.
Were they going off there thinking that because they have a business license they were okay? I don't know.
No, I think they were
They
just
know
trying
better.
to skirt.
Yeah,
the
they
system.
do.
All right, just making sure. Wondering.
No.
So
good
that's
question.
mine. Stephen, do you have anything for food vendors?
No.
Okay.
No.
And then Sally's not here, but do you have anything from Sally?
I do. I'll speak for
Okay.
Sally too.
I know that she mentioned asking if we wanted to keep the same showcase and pay for that
The
that we had
display.
last time.
Is that
the
the
display.
tent? Yeah.
Yeah. So she wanted to know if we wanted to keep that at that expense, and so I heard good things.
I
But
thought it
On
was
the
good.
tent.
This is Liz. I thought it was great. My
Okay.
kids loved it.
Yeah, my grandkids loved it too.
And we were there lots of days, and they still loved it all the days.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
get
didn't
the
watch
animal,
their-
you get the animal expense plus the tent rental expense with that one. So the tent
Yeah.
rental is like $1,000 for that one,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it was doable.
I didn't see their show on the stage. Was that good?
My kids liked it. I didn't even watch it. It was
Yeah.
too rainy. I went and sat in the car while they went and watched it.
The kids love that show, but it's not just the kids. The adults
love it too.
love that show
Okay.
too.
Okay.
'Cause I didn't see the show. But
And this
I
was,
did on the
this was kind of our exchange from a petting zoo. We used to do a petting zoo
Right.
to this. What I have here is that the feedback that I think Sally had received was that, at least, and I don't think she asked the comparative question, which one's better, but I think she felt that that was a better use. I think the tent was nice because there was shade if it was really hot,
Right.
and when it started raining, there was a place for them to get in under cover as well. So
Okay.
the only other thing we have is Juggle Nuts. They're kind of wanting to be done. We've used them for a lot of years.
Okay.
They were kind enough to keep doing it. Pete, that's accurate, right?
Yeah.
That they're looking to retire. So there was just a comment of maybe we try to find like a magician or some kind of different a different entertainment.
Sounds good.
Or maybe we can find another juggling act. But
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I want them to retire. They're ready to
If they're ready to
retire,
do that
so,
too.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, we won't force them out of
not
retirement.
that
anyway.
not that I think we have enough power to stop them from
Right.
retirement. But I think they're just kind people that if we keep asking, they'll probably keep coming.
Right.
So at some point, we just use our judgment.
Brett was
To,
dropping quite a few. The older gentleman.
Yeah.
He was
Oh,
dropping,
yeah.
which made it even more funny, but.
with machetes and butcher
Right,
knives.
it kind of makes you nervous and
We can
fire.
support
Yeah.
them in their retirement.
Yeah, that's all I got.
I'm sure there are other acts out there.
Okay, and then John's not here for the car show. Do we have anything from John?
I do.
Okay, that's why I started asking.
No, I know. So the car show, the JC who did the car show told John that was the best car show he's ever been to, and this is what he does. He loved it. He loved the venue. He loved the shade. He loved the crowd. We had a lot of really, really good feedback on the car show. With
I
that,
think the hot dog dinner though, wasn't that the main?
yeah, I think that in the car show, but that really helped. There was some feedback on the inflatables. Those things got crazy. Yeah, there was a lot of issues. They had attendance there, but what happened, and my little girl was one of these, is little kids go in there, they get scared, the attendant's going after them. Once they leave their post, it floods with all the kids, so it was just really, really challenging. Our risk manager was not there. Had he been there, I'm not really sure how that would have. It could have been bad. So I don't know if we really want to do that same inflatable thing. But what's interesting is we wanted to do the obstacle course because it's low to the ground. At the Harvest Festival, which is a different event that the hospital does, there was the big slide, but when it's up vertical, you can see people that whole time. In the obstacle course, they get lost. You don't see where your kid is for a period of time. While it does go higher, I think there's probably potentially less risk because you see somebody the whole time. You can kind of control that crowd, and it's just up and down.
It's not less risk, because if it gets too many kids on it, it goes down.
But that's what I'm saying. I think you're able to see how many kids are
Right,
on that.
that's
It's a little easier to versus
And if it deflates,
yeah.
you run quickly.
But there's this conversation about not doing inflatables and just maybe finding other games. So just so you know, about a month or two ago, a company out of Provo came and they wanted to do a car show. They said, would the city like to sponsor and be a part of this? And he said, well, we already do a car show during the year. We're not interested in doing a second event. Mm-hmm. They did their event, liked being a part of it, but didn't like having to operate and organize. So when it ended, we mentioned that we do a car show, and if they just want to give us money and be a part of a car show we already do, and they were really, really interested in that.
Oh, sweet.
They bring into their event, they brought a lot of volunteers. So we had a conversation to see their interest in being a sponsor of the car show at a greater level, and then bringing volunteers. And so potentially we could do more games and let their volunteers help staff those games, and there isn't kind of the big inflatable mess. So that's kind of what we're looking at potentially. I think we want to continue to use JC for the show. Mm-hmm. He did a great job, 105 cars. I think we continue to do the free dinner. Nice. The trains, there was comments about, I wish there was a second train because that line started to get pretty long. If we had multiple trains going, we could get more people on those train rides. Okay. So I think we'd like to do that. I think it's really the game. Is there anything else you'd add to that?
No, that's it.
It's those games and the inflatables and how we handle that in the future. I think we would love to see maybe games like cornhole and games like parachute, kind of low-risk games, and if they would bring the volunteers to staff all that, that makes it pretty doable.
Less choices in line.
Less choices on the food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you get a lot of choices, that's
the cookies were too many choices and too many
Uh-huh.
kinds of chips.
Yep.
I do maybe 2 or 3 choices, 2 or 3
Yep.
instead of 10.
Yep, that's what we're looking at too.
Yeah.
So we can talk to John about all of
Yep,
that.
yep.
Okay. Sweet.
This is Liz. Just a little comment on the free dinner. For me, it felt like that line was eternity long, but even the people at the end of the line were still happy. It's like they knew, like they planned ahead, free dinner, and they didn't mind standing in line, and they were in line forever, and people were still cheerful. Like they were just happy to be standing in line to get their free hot dogs. So it's a good thing.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then the hospital tent and Rotary, do we have anything from Kat?
Do you want to speak to the hospitality tab? Just your thoughts on that.
We just need to rethink the food a little bit, like what we really need. We had a lot of leftover food based on the year before. We tried to buy more.
The dilly bars were great.
There's nothing wrong with boxes
Boxes
of
of
dilly
dilly
bars.
I was happy. I went out with the box.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, we need to just rethink the food a little bit. Okay. I don't think we need as much food and maybe different kinds of food, but It went really well.
Yeah, it was
and
good.
we did have a lot of dilly bars left, but everyone was happy to take a box.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
their souvenir for the rest of the week.
So we would keep the dilly bars the same and change the food. Change what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Less sandwiches, just as much ice cream.
Right, okay, got it. Okay. Anything else about that?
I went to the Rotary breakfast. It was good. They do a good job.
Is there a good turnout?
It was steady, you know.
Okay.
I would say the pavilion was half full when I was there, but I think I didn't stay the whole time.
Yeah.
But it's a good little breakfast. Price is right.
Anything from Nathan about the baby contest or the helicopter?
Yep. So Orem High does have their ACT again this year. So we went away from Orem High because they had their ACT scheduled that morning. And remember, last year was almost a week later, just how the calendar fell. We're back to the week before, and it is in their the day of their ACT. But that venue is so nice, much better than the Sarah worked out for logistics. So we have a call into Centennial Elementary, which is the new Sarah Park Elementary, to potentially use that. There's no conflict. I just don't know on their elementary schools that they rent them during the summer the same way high schools do. So they're going to find that out after fall break and let us know. But if that's the case, it's actually cheaper to rent. And it's a brand new school that I think people would be interested in seeing that school anyways. And the layout, as you walk in, there's a little bit of a lobby, and then there's a big multi-purpose room just off to the right. So it could work out really well if Centennial's willing to give that. If they're not sure about it, I think we may just have you reach out to somebody on the school board and see if they work with us. We'll still pay, but their sponsorship is just letting us maybe when they wouldn't have. Anyways. And then as far as the helicopter goes, we mentioned in our last meeting the possibility of this military 5K. As part of that, they're planning to bring a helicopter display of like one of their Blackhawks, like a really cool military helicopter. So that's the hope. And John started to struggle with the helicopter part of it because they don't own the helicopter anymore. They were trying to rely on University of Utah.
Right.
So this way we could say, don't worry about the helicopter. We'll bring this military one, which I think
So
would be,
Two or three,
People
whatever.
love that.
would be amazing.
That is cool.
So that's the baby contest and helicopter. Anything else on baby contest, Pete?
Well, we can talk about Freedom Festival stuff.
Free what?
So Freedom Festival we met with them yesterday. They asked about I think they started asking some questions about why we don't share any revenue with them on the baby contest entries. There's about $4,000 that's made on that. There may be a discussion on, they do help get a lot of the sponsors for the bags. We just do most everything else, but Nathan actually enlightened us that they do help a lot. So there may be a discussion on some revenue share with the baby contest, which it's not a huge
It's not
deal.
that much money, really.
Right,
Yeah.
I don't think that's, if they're doing a
If
lot-
they're helping,
yeah,
then we
I
can
think it's
do
fine.
something on that too. So that may just change up a little bit, but we'll keep you posted on that.
Okay. And then Kirsten?
All right, so everything went super great last time, I think.
He was great. He was a
So
great
fun.
storyteller.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get to listen to him, but it seemed like everybody was
Oh,
having
he
a
was
great
funny.
time.
He was great.
That's how it's supposed to be, right? The ice cream was a huge hit.
Oh, yeah.
I think everybody liked the band. I had terrific volunteers. The mall was great to work with. I just, like, everything really, I think, went really well.
Except
So,
for the start time confusion.
yeah, that was
Yes.
our only, like, but I think we've kind of addressed that as, you know, if we all get hands on or eyes
Yeah.
on whatever on the magazine before it's printed, then we can catch those errors. So, that was great. Do you want me to bring up this coming year
I think so,
really
yeah, if you
quickly?
would.
Okay, so I reached out to Mary Lee Clark, who's with Timpanogos Storytelling Festival, and that's who we've been coordinating with. And Timpanogos Storytelling Festival has grown so large they can't really do their own thing anymore, and so Thanksgiving Point is taking over, and that means that they can't have the grants that they've had in the past that have helped to fund some of the programs that they do in our community. And so that said, we don't have that support anymore, but she hooked me up with a couple of people who do 2 different programs at BYU, so they'd be considered separate entities. And then there's us, and she mentioned that there might be one other one about getting together and splitting the cost, so it would be more expensive for us than it has been in the past, simply because we don't have the grants.
So how much?
from-
A couple thousand? What are you thinking?
So she's 1,500. The gal that they want to have, let me tell you who it is this year. That they want to have is Charlotte Blake Alston. She's been telling since she was 6 years old, and she's African American. She's probably the most renowned national storyteller. She's extremely good. She's done all sorts of stuff with like the presidential things and the Constitution and anyways, that kind of stuff. But she's great. I've looked at a lot of her stuff online. She's a terrific storyteller for kids and families.
Great.
And so she is $1,500 a day. And then there's the cost of her flight and her hotel and food. And
So about 3,000
so-
then probably.
We can get a hotel.
Trio.
Maybe,
They Airbnb.
yeah.
Okay, so maybe we could help with the
We
lodging.
could probably at least get a free hotel.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah.
And then Stephen and I also talked, and I thought about calling her manager and saying, look, you know, our last storyteller, he only flew in right before the event. So, but I don't know if they count that as a whole day, but he told for 1 hour, you know, and I don't think so, because it's on the email that I received, it sounded like it was talking about a day of telling or, you know, teaching or whatever. Anyways, if we could get a reduced fee for her day, because we're only having her tell for an hour, and then if we do the hotel, then that would be fabulous.
Well, there's tons of art grants out there that we could look at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we could get a
Maybe the library
sponsor.
could do
Yeah.
something with her in the morning.
I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
do her down at all with
Pay for
her,
the day.
Yeah.
her
ma-
price. I think that's
No.
reasonable.
I think we could find money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
you
could- we
wonder
could find
too,
1,500.
if we're gonna pay 1,500, people's brought up this, and maybe the library utilizes her during the day too, so we're just getting more use out, of it. We still pay
For a
them.
learning program or some
Yeah.
kind of teaching
Yeah.
program in the story, then put the thing of the party.
Yeah.
I wonder too if somebody, I could see like a Steve Schallenberger donating like some miles. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people that have
Yeah,
more
I think
miles
we
than
did
they
find
could ever use.
miles too.
Anyways, that's maybe just some creative thoughts, but
Well, and I think there's someone in the Orem Arts, don't they usually do something at the library? Like, I can check in with Mary Lee Clark again and see if
Or talk to Shar.
Talk to Charlene.
yeah, she's not here tonight, but
Okay.
our library director's on our committee here. So.
okay, all right, great, I'll do that.
I think bring her in and let's have her do more
Make it work.
during the
We
day.
could
Yeah.
use care funds.
And then you said
Yeah,
we would
we
be
could.
splitting the price between
could.
us and 2 other people?
We'd have to pay for our day.
Right.
They'd all be paying for their days, but the cost
We
of
can
her
do care.
flight,
It's not
her
bad.
food, and her hotel, so her
Will be split.
accommodations and stuff. That,
Okay,
In fact, we're gonna have,
that sounds good.
yeah, let's talk about that. That's
Well,
a
and
great
maybe
idea.
they would help,
That's
so the
amazing.
other entities would help pay for our day's fee if we're paying for her whole hotel.
yeah, if we can,
Right, you probably
Or
negotiate
paying
that.
for, covering stuff, then help out with the
Come on, Debbie.
Or then
I'm not
the 2 of them take the flights,
Uh-huh.
and we don't
Exactly.
do anything if we have the hotel.
Right. You
No,
guys do
it's
a
not.
flight, we'll do
But
something,
Yeah.
that would be a perfect venue for
something
care.
like that.
Oh, yeah.
Just won't.
Yeah. That would not be a hard sell.
So
okay,
I guess what I'm hearing is let's plan on moving forward with this.
Yes.
okay.
We think
Okay.
we can find the funds. We have a few pots we could try to get.
Yeah.
So my thought was if we have her, I'd really like to do maybe a jazz band. Like not a like jazz band, like a Crescent Moon jazz band or whatever they're called, but something more like a Nora Jones type feel that's a little more
They don't do jazz.
family friendly. I don't know. What?
Sorry, the band from last year, they that's the one thing they don't do is jazz.
Is jazz?
It's a lot of times
So you what?
they don't do jazz. The,
Last year's
the Jersey
band.
Street band doesn't.
But
do jazz.
Caleb Chapman has some bands that aren't the expensive Crescent ones. They have some other ones that would probably.
Well,
uh,
and
it's like-
UVU,
That's synthesis usually.
but UVU is right here in Orem, so like last year I appealed to them that way, and I think that that's a great place to go. And sometimes you have professors that play in the band together, like that's a common thing, and they have a few students that play with them. So I'm going to check into that. If everybody feels like that's an okay,
Check out
Genre.
Sonic Exchange too. It's this Caleb Chapman group, and they're like super brilliant high school musicians.
Caleb
and they're from all
Chapman?
over the state. Yeah, they're called Sonic Exchange,
song.
but they're a jazz band, and they do the vocals and the singing. And
I think I looked at them last time. I think they were really expensive.
Are they?
I think
You
so.
could look at UVU's music department.
Okay, but their person with Sonic Exchange in it too?
Caleb Chapman.
Okay.
And he's in American Fork at the Crescent School.
Okay. That's it. And then, can we do ice cream again? Do you know? How did they
We'll figure
feel?
it out.
Okay.
I don't know what they were. We'll figure it out. We'll find an ice cream place.
Yeah.
Something.
Billy Bars.
The dilly bars.
Dilly bars, we know that's
Have
not-
dilly bars all week long.
Right, it seems like everybody's happy with that, so.
2 dilly kids.
What about the Spirit Awards?
Oh. I have nothing. Oh, like how did it go?
How did it go for you? How did the event go?
Well, we had our little
We had that one
snafu,
thing.
but it got handled, and I believe he was awarded his award
Later, yeah.
later. And that's something we need to talk about is that, do we want to still do the awards that night? Are we still doing the student awards, or is that going to go back to being the night of the dinner? Because we
go
don't have
back
the
to
ball
night of
this
the dinner.
year.
Yeah, I have dinner to talk about.
Okay, so I'm just throwing that out there. Is that good for you?
I think so. Well, we'll wait and see what Steven has to say.
Okay.
Okay. And then Liz?
So I feel like things went really well with the student marshals. I don't really feel like I have a lot I'm going to change for that. I feel like I learned a lot about the hot dog and pie eating contests, mostly the way to do the contest and the way to make that a little more less crazy. But and the release forms that they had to fill out got a little bit nuts. But we survived and we made it through, and the kids all had smiles and the grown-ups too, right, Stephen?
Yeah.
See,
yeah,
there you
definitely.
go. So
Definitely.
I'm not planning to change anything. I mean, change little things, but
Right.
nothing dramatic.
Okay, thank you. And then do we have anything from Catherine?
No, the pool party actually went really well.
That's
and
good.
I mean, props to Pete and his team. Kind of got the payment thing all figured out, and there was
sweet.
really never a big line, and it just kind of
Dilly bars
worked
were great.
through. So, I mean, the only comment on here of something to do different is to have our Sarah Pool make more room in the freezers for the dilly bars. And not have the royalty bombard them as they're walking in.
Yeah.
They kind of they were just being excited. They were excited, and so. But as soon as people were walking in, they were right there, and so it just started. But there was room to let them kind of get into the pool.
Okay.
But no, I don't think we do a lot different there. And chess tournament, Pete, what's the chess tournament feedback?
So the chess tournament, we had 60 people participate, which was way more than we were anticipating.
Yeah.
And basically what he wants to do is get some more boards, and the boards are about $15 a piece. And so if there's some money lying around for that, that's kind of the one improvement we could make.
He's wanting like the city to own some boards.
Yeah. And it'd be fine because we do chess at the library a couple times a week, so there'd be a use for those boards and clocks.
Do you need the
How many
boards
more
and
does
the
he want?
pieces?
Yeah, it's like a set. Yeah, it's a $15 set,
How many more does he want?
like 10.
Oh. Yeah.
So it'd be like $150,
Probably find a
$200.
couple of savers every time you go over there.
Yeah, honestly.
Missing the king in the road.
Yeah, that's true.
And it wasn't.
Hey, but we have 3D printers, we can make them.
Wasn't there another concern about when they
Yeah.
tried to set up, people were in there eating and all of
Yeah,
that?
and we just need to start a little bit earlier, getting it
Okay.
kind of set up, roped off.
Yeah, I had no idea when it was coming in. So
Yeah.
obviously
We'll give Tim some pepper spray.
Done. Fire hose.
He's gonna be able to use that for more than one thing.
Along the parade route.
Sure.
Stay
With
behind the
food vendors,
line.
With the food
Hey, I don't want
vendors.
complaints.
Seriously.
They get shuffled to be pretty well. I know. I hear it.
What if you just sprinkle it on your nacho?
Okay, and then the grand parade is vacant.
That is.
That's a huge concern.
Yeah.
Okay,
That is
so
such a
take
big
that
thing.
on. So as I'm leaving to come here, I said to my husband, I got to go to that Summerfest meeting. Hey, did you see on Facebook that the city asked for more volunteers? He's like, well, did you tell them that I want to do it? And I said, are you serious that you really want to do this? Because he does not have volunteeritis like I do, but he saw how much fun I had, and he was like, yeah, I want to do it. And he says, what would I be in charge of? I said, you be in charge of the parade. He's like, okay, cool. So there's a chance that my husband might be
Wow.
willing to be in charge
Would
of the
that
parade.
work for you and your family?
I don't see why not.
Okay. Great.
So what is it
So-
that we need to do to convince?
I don't know.
So well
I don't
said.
know. I mean, I say
Right.
let's. I mean, like not. I'm not
It's
that
about,
we couldn't
it's
do
about
it, but
3
it's
months of work.
exactly. It's a lot of work, and we have a lot of crazy in our lives. But so I say, obviously, there's going to be people who are going to apply, and if there's a better
Just
fit
kinda
one of
see.
them, fabulous. But if not, there's a chance that my husband wants to
Is
do
that
it.
the only
Okay.
spot that's open?
Orm got
And
talent.
Orm's Got Talent.
But if Shelley does Orm's Got Talent,
Right. It would just be the parade.
Yeah.
Well, like maybe if you guys did as a couple.
Yeah, that's
and
what I was
then we
thinking,
gave
yeah.
we gave your son
Gave my
to
son-
someone else.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
You
yeah.
just
That's
work
a good
on that
point.
together.
Yeah, we did that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah, that's a good
great
idea.
Kenna. So,
Yeah, because
The parade's by far the most involved.
Right.
So
position.
a couple things. This is a conversation I had with Kenna a while ago, and I don't remember this one, Kenna, but there was one idea of maybe approaching a company and saying, hey, as a sponsor, we will make you a sponsor of Summerfest if you'll just provide an employee that's dedicated to helping us do this. So potentially we can, because this is one that really is involved.
Right.
But Liz could do it, and her husband.
Well, and my husband and I would help you just because we've done it.
The other thing
We'd help you.
this
We'd help
year
you figure it out.
is we actually found there's a software out there called Parade Cloud that is built to manage parades.
Wow.
So a couple things it allows you to do. One is, so what would always happen with all the parades is somebody would drop out, so now you're rearranging. This is all just drag and drop. So you're just moving people that way. The other thing that's nice, and we get this request all the time, is, hey, can you give us the list? Well, the list isn't formed because until the last minute we don't know. Well, this, actually, whatever you're updating, there's an interface to the public so they could all see who's the
That's
order
nice.
and who's coming,
Oh,
all
that's
that.
nice.
It allows the applications to all go through this and automatically feed throughout the rest of it. So
That is
it's
nice.
Is that
it's
like-
200 I think it's $250 total.
Oh, that's good.
We could get that. I think that would make anybody's job
Yeah.
much easier.
Yeah.
So
Because
Also-
that's and if you input it right away, that's what takes so long is building a database and Excel spreadsheets and then moving,
see, in this
that'd
case,
be
all
great.
that gets done. The application gets done, and everything now you need is all there, and you're just
That's
dragging
awesome.
and dropping people.
That is very cool.
That's awesome.
So I think we could definitely do that.
Cool.
So would that option be of interest?
Would you be
if the
interested?
two of you worked on
Yeah.
it and we
Yeah.
found somebody for
Do you want to
use?
plan on that?
We'll plan on that.
Okay, and then
We'll
we'll
do it.
find somebody else to do the.
The hot
Okay.
dog and pie.
Because I think for somebody to step in first year to Summerfest and jump on Grand Parade,
Uh-huh.
that'd be for you having felt it out and just kind of
Uh-huh.
seen it. I think that would be
Yeah.
Okay.
helpful. Okay,
Sure.
Thank you.
sounds good.
Yeah. I'm sure Sean will come down and orient you because I'm sure she's tweaked it since my husband and I did it.
Uh-huh.
Just remember that your husband used to go online
And do the
still
thing.
fill
Fill out
out
the
the
thing,
thing
yeah,
on
yeah.
the dashboard.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
To
And be
be
approved.
Okay.
approved by city council.
Okay.
Well, so it kind of depends on how we do it. If we kind of treat him as like a subcommittee type situation,
So
where
still
he's just
treat
helping
him
you and he's
as
not.
one,
Yeah,
one
this-
instead of two committee members.
You know, so
just
Sean
one.
always had her daughter or son that would be kind of the big help. It'd be that. But if he does want to become an actual member of that, we could probably make that work too.
Okay.
But
Great.
either way.
It's usually a 3-year commitment.
But if you want to just stick to the parade together, then let's probably not have him apply. Let's have him just work with you. But he can
Okay.
still come to
Okay.
everything and
Okay.
be a part of it.
Okay, thank
We'll
you.
plan on that.
It's fun.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's huge.
So Stephen, are you going to talk about the dinner and your
Yeah.
administrative items?
So yeah, so and this came up a little bit. And kind of chime in on this too. But I think the feedback I remember hearing from you is, so we were thinking, well, what night are we going to do the dinner now? Because for these different things. But from what I heard from you is that it was actually nice to have the dinner a different week. So you're not that night,
I would love
or
that.
that week trying to squeeze that into all the other nights that you have. And so if we did a nice dinner for you, potentially the week before, so it's off. So when Summerfest comes, we're not.
Yeah.
You're able to potentially just relax a little more. That was kind of the
Good with that.
feedback. Do you remember? I think
That's
we
what
did
we were
talk
talking
about
about.
that.
Yeah.
So if that works for you, I think that's what we would plan to do is just do a nice dinner, do it
The
another
previous
night.
week?
We'll take care of it all. Just come and relax. So then the question is, do we involve the Spirit Award winners in that dinner? So, yes, so kind of jump in.
So I think the student marshals would be fine at that dinner. I think the Spirit Award winners, because it's kind of an Orem, all about Orem. I think we either do it your night or the night of
Do the Orange
Friday
Got Talent?
night, or Orem's Got Talent. Either way.
Yeah.
I think the student marshals could do it that night fine.
Okay.
Are you going to do an entertainment thing like you did this year? Did we go to the Sarah?
Well, the Sarah, yeah, we had that as kind of part of our centennial thing as well. We have talked about. I think we would do like we did last year, where there's no additional show. It's just
Right.
we would piggyback on one of theirs. Whether we make that a part of Summerfest, I don't know, but I think we can get tickets for everybody, no problem. It's just
As a
whether
thank
we
you.
want to, whether there's any interest in making it a part of Summerfest. So we'll talk to Adam about that. Any concerns on doing the dinner another night?
Where would you do the dinner? I'm trying to remember where we did it.
With there being an event every day of the week
Well,
during
we used to be-
Summerfest, so that's
Did it at.
tough to squeeze it in.
Work
Yeah, if we
perfect.
did it during the week of.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think we'll do
You
the week before.
culinary arts? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
The food was always really good. So.
yeah, I don't.
Well, our culinary arts program is pretty
Yeah.
magnificent. I'm just being biased over here.
So I think what we'll do is we'll look at some options and bring some options back.
Sounds good.
Kind of see how that all works. Okay. And then as far as any other administrative things, I don't think so. That's all I got.
Okay. Read anything else? Did Reed leave?
Reed's gone.
I can't see, so chairs in my
I
way.
just want to say
No,
a
this
big
chair's in
thank
my way.
you. I did my report to the city council, and they were all happy with
Good.
Summerfest, and I heard no negative at all. Did you hear anything that was a concern? I didn't hear anything, so I think it was a stellar year. I think it was, except for a few too young of judges on Orange Got Talent.
Yeah, but
That's the only, and that was
Mark Seastrand, he's been 14 years on the council, 14 years of Summerfest, said of you and the committee here, that's the best one he's ever seen done. So
Yeah, good. I'm
really,
glad.
really
Enjoyed it.
high praise for all the work you did in all of those aspects. We made some big changes this year too, and you just
Did we
really
have any
handled it
complaints
well.
on the candy? That's the one thing on the parade is always the question.
Still struggle.
Well, I
We
think
still
most of the
struggle.
complaints come from us internally. But I don't think the public really complained. I mean, well, there was
a few of those. but-
there was the kids jumped in front of me, and I've been sitting there all day, and then somebody comes and sits in front of me. Things that I just don't know if we can ever.
I don't think you're ever
actually
solve.
Okay.
Okay.
With that, Freedom Festival has probably 40 plus police officers patrolling their streets. They have every highway patrolman on street, they have every sheriff officer,
Yeah.
and they have all of their staff on hand as well. Can we get some of that for ours, possibly?
You
Because
pay 'em.
they push everybody past that white line and they drive by 100 times.
Yeah.
Where I was sitting down on the corner of 3rd and 3rd, I saw numerous cops.
Yeah, we
But-
could definitely have a conversation with Shane. The only other thing that did come out of the parade was that fencing that we put. That's something we'll have to just figure out.
Do it or not do
So the people in the parade actually really liked it because they were setting up and not having a bunch of kids through. But whether we need to go full
Well,
chain
and I think
link
that
chain
Sean
fence.
said that the biggest concern was that she didn't pre-warn the homeowners,
Yes,
and that some pre-warning would have gone a long
Yeah, I
way.
think
Right.
So,
I remember her saying that.
I think so. So, anyways, we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
But the blanket thing went really good.
That was good. That went well. That
We
was
didn't-
well received.
Did we? I heard we didn't even pick up one blanket.
That restored my faith in
No,
humanity.
we didn't pick up any blankets, but it was a very good show to watch the Saturday morning.
They showed up to put them
Oh, some
down.
people were like,
Yeah, they were waiting there, sitting on their chair, and watching the cars go by. 8 o'clock in the
Friday
morning.
Yeah.
It was quite the event. It was pretty cool to watch.
Okay.
Saturday morning.
that's good.
Tim?
As of now, hopefully this year goes better, just as good as last year, but I don't have anything to say at the moment.
Okay. And Laura and Charlene are not here. Neither is Jason Pete.
We're starting to get not applications, but inquiries in, right? You know, people are like, hey, when's, the application's gonna come up, so.
Yeah, I got one over like a month or so after Summerfest. I was like, January, leave me alone.
That's why I thought I might check at the end of
Yeah.
January.
Let me enjoy my
January.
holidays.
Yeah, we got some
Yeah.
eager beavers out there.
Wow.
Yeah, because we usually try to have it up in the beginning of January, so I just told them to look for it in the new year. So,
Yeah.
okay.
We have a lot of like really good food vendors that are really nice to work with. Can we just bring them back every year and not worry about everybody else?
No. You can give me the list of your preferred vendors and I will look out for
And the
them.
blacklist, right, as well?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, blacklist for
Oh, I
sure.
don't know
That's
who's on the
important.
blacklist,
We
but
got a few of those.
yeah,
but-
definitely if it makes it easier for you, you can tell me
Sure.
who they are and I will try to work them in, of course, but
Right.
They'll get a gold star.
And they have a pretty good line, so nobody complains every year when they come
Right.
in, so it works, so.
Yeah,
okay.
that was good. Good job. It was great.
And then Kent and Shannon.
And kudos on moving it to the one park. I think that worked out well. Was that easier for you guys?
Not easy to maintain.
I think that was a good suggestion to move it back, except for the car show, right? Was the only thing
Yeah,
with the
it was
other.
just one night. That was the only thing going on then.
Yeah,
so.
so
that worked
I
out
think
for
we'll
us.
continue to do that. I thought it was well received. I thought most people.
We do need to advertise parking on the east side of that park when it comes to the car show for next year a little
Okay.
better, because, yeah, it was quite busy on that one parking lot.
Also, if we can get the NPS donation of t-shirts again,
I'll
that's
try.
been the gold mine.
That was
Still a
huge.
shop, isn't it? Warehouse.
Yeah, we've been.
I'll ask her.
Yeah.
Printed 800.
She's really good.
It's still like, yeah.
I have a question. Are we gonna try to do like the Wednesday event? I mean, like the pool and the car show. We talked about having them all start at the same time. Like
oh, yeah.
Tuesday night, pool party starts at 7. Car show went or whatever
7.
7. So it's consistent. So
But do you need to go earlier because it's dinner?
Yeah.
It's a really good point. Just have everything, no matter what night of the week, whatever the event
What
is, it
time
starts
did
at
we
the same
start
time.
the storytelling?
We started at 6:30. So we had two concerns, and one was that where there would be shade,
so we're playing for that.
That's right.
But the building's getting taller. So
The building's getting taller. The other thing I noticed though is that like families, like we're still coming. You could see, like I noticed, like, you know, mom would show up with the kids and dad would come later, and you know, like I saw a lot of that. So I'm worried that if we were to move it like to 6, that would make it harder for families to come and enjoy it.
but
6:30.
But can we just say 6:30? But I
think
really
6:30
like this idea of having everything, like, no
At
matter
the
what
same
night of the
time.
week, everything starts at the same time.
And I think on a summer night, 6:30 is not too late for hot dogs and stuff.
No.
Right.
I think with the pool too, they don't close until 6.
So 6:30 is probably
I think
the time.
6:30 is when they open it up for rentals, and so I think that'll go that time frame too, so.
Yeah.
this is my dad, excuse me.
Okay. Yeah, let's
Okay.
plan on that.
Good, how's it going?
So Stephen,
Yes.
you're next with the next meeting.
Okay, so we historically have always taken November and December off for the holidays. So the plan would be to get started again the third Wednesday of January.
Okay. Anything else from anyone? Kenna, sorry.
No, you're fine, I got left off the I just teased you. So, planning on same sponsors, so, you know, approaching the same sponsors. If you need anything additional to what you've done in the past, let me know. So I know that, you know, what you're looking for. But mostly everything will be the same. I'll just go for the same kinds of things.
Okay.
So just to let you know that.
Anything else from anybody? Jill?
No.
Okay. I don't know how to adjourn this meeting. Stephen?
Well, we don't have the quorum, so we don't even have to call for that.
Okay, well, all of you, have lovely holidays. Thank you.
So just
guys.
watch for proposals on the fees.
Yes.
Yeah, who's gonna take
I think that's the one thing that we'll kind of get you a vote
Oh,
on.
it's better me on Heath's name now.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
and then just keep in
Thanks,
touch and we'll see how we
Yeah,
can
we
make that
gotta
work. But I
sign
think
it.
we have some other funding sources that like, we'd like to explore, I think, with the care tax, which is our arts tax that we get, that potentially we could dedicate to helping cover some costs.
Okay.
So.
Is he gonna take care of the mask?
Yeah, when is that gonna be
Oh,
submitted?
yeah, so Heath Stevenson will be doing the mass gathering.
I know my name's on that paperwork.
Yeah.
So we gotta adjust some things.
You're part of the permit.
Jay?
Yeah, I know.
It's all on here.
I quit.
Can you take this? Sorry, I can take it.
No,
I'm not gonna take over here.
Let's, right, this is gonna be a lot easier. You wanna do it for you closer together or drive you?
Meeting, so came up with this.
One. But she's like, I feel like 2, but. No problem.
For you, it's good.
Both of them.
And what number is this for her? Do you know?
Yeah, and it was the surprise.